rapid pace out here early in the second. LeVert, hey, knocks it down. Rondo's on the run. Stops, hits Love fires. Cavs reset with a fresh 14. Under 3 to go in the half. Garland works on Holiday. Toss it for a moment. Shovels to Mobley. Garland, step back three, drew a foul, knocks it down.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening live here to another episode of the All Things Cleveland Cavaliers podcast, episode number 35. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Brandon Lewis, and with me, as always, not only is he the co-host of the All Things Cleveland Cavaliers podcast, and not only is he the co-ed editor of written content here for Believe Win Media LLC, not only is he the White County Captains beat reporter, he's also the future host of the J&J podcast coming here to Believe Win Media. Joey Schneider, how are you, my friend?
Jack of all trades, master of none, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, that was a hell of an introduction. Thank you, Brandon. You were definitely my brother. And love doing the podcast. 35 episodes. Good God. I mean, I can't even just think. We're gonna be pretty soon. We got the draft special coming up next week. Everyone, it's gonna be that's gonna be episode number 36 of ATC. Gonna have some special guests. We have Joel Ewell, the other co-host of the newly formed Friday Mornings with J&J. Also, Clarence Wilson, one of the co-hosts from Den of the Dog, is going to dip his toe into the NBA draft with us. Very knowledgeable. And our boss, Kevin Sled. So I'm going to be swearing a whole lot. And make sure that it's a very fun episode for everyone. If anyone has any questions about the NBA draft, we're gonna put it out on our All Things Cavaliers Twitter. Ask questions, and we will get your name out there. We will answer your question, and it's just gonna be a really good time. But for today, Brandon, not gonna lie, not a whole lot to talk about on the Cavs front. Me and you can pretty much stretch any Cavs talk into about 3.5 hours, but first, I think first on the docket today is going to be a huge congratulations to Greg Buckner getting promoted to associate head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and again, well deserved. Did a great job last year, and another promotion, just doing right by the guys that helped this Cavs team get to where they are. And what more can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, that continuation and that promoting from within factor is important, because as we know, when owner Dean Gilbert bought the Cavs in 2005, I believe J.B. Bickerstaff was the first coach in general to just get an extension. We know even with all the glory times the Cavs have had with LeBron James, and obviously some down years without him, and now they're back on the rise again. This team, even for all the ups and downs, continuality at the coaching position has not been its strength. And so it's nice to see JB obviously got his contract extension, Kobe Allman, and now Greg Buckner, obviously just continuing that pipeline of the Cavs look to build that future for down the road.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you go through kind of the rebuild post LeBron, and you had Sexton, the number 8 pick out of Alabama. And then you had Garland, and everyone was like, why did we just draft 2 guards? And, obviously it worked out, but, they had different coaches. I think Ty Lue was still the coach when Sexton was drafted for the first
6 games.
Yeah, for 6 games. And then who replaced him?
So it was Ty Lue, and then Larry Drew replaced Ty
Larry
Lue
Drew
for the interim. And then the year after that was John
Beilein,
the former head coach at Michigan, for about a half a season. And of course, he had some incident in the film room. Stuff was said. You guys can go look that back up if you want to go for that. And then replacing Beilein midway through the season was JB. And
Right.
JB obviously has stayed on now the last couple of seasons, and JB has taken these last couple of seasons to form his staff, and now obviously that staff is getting rewarded. And again, it's just nice to see the Cavs continuing the continuality of building from within, and I think it's going to make this organization strong for years to come.
Yeah, and I just think that this is the right way to build the team. You're building it through the draft. You're taking the guys that are like Darius Garland, like Evan Mobley. You added Jared Allen. You're adding the right pieces because they're young. You're drafting really well, and you're just building this team more and more and more. You traded for LeVert. You found a new role for Kevin Love, and this I think and we got the number 14th pick in a very deep draft coming up. So this team, if it's playoffs or bust next year, and I'm not no play-in. No, I'm talking. Even if they make the playoffs in a play-in, I still might even be upset. Like, I don't want to go through that. I want the Cavs to just make the playoffs, and I think that they're going to have the roster to do it. Altman's been doing a phenomenal job. So we kind of had an agenda before we started recording, but I kind of want to throw actually something at you that we didn't talk about.
Go ahead.
Because I'm I know I might be in the minority here on this.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, my attention.
Yeah. Me and you have talked about this guy a lot. this young man. But I don't know how much more I can listen to it and actually believe it, which is I am hearing a ton about Isaac Okoro playing against some of the top guys in the practicing against some of the top guys in the NBA and looking like the best player on the court. Oh, his game's improved so much. They haven't been out of the offseason has not been that long for the Cavs for me to believe that Isaac Okoro can now put up 20 a game.
No, absolutely no way. We have talked about Okoro's guys. We have talked about Okoro at different points in different variants. We talked about him very early in the season. He was definitely struggling. And then it looked like towards the end of the season, his shot was starting to fall down, especially in the regular season. Obviously, the play-in tournament, the shots were not knocking down. But me and you have both said, like, next year is probably the biggest year for Isaac Okoro, because he needs to start developing and knocking down those shots. And as great of a defensive player as he is, this is 2022. This is not 2002. The NBA has turned into an offensive league. And I would argue, outside of, some centers occasionally, that if you cannot constantly shoot a jumper in today's game, there's no place for you on the floor.
Well, it goes back to, and especially like you're looking at this draft, I'm looking for someone who could step into the starting role at the wing. And it's because Okoro is great. Like you said, as great as he is on defense, he provides us very little offense. And, every now and again, he has one of those games, 14 points, 16 points. And those are the games we end up winning. But, I keep hearing, this player and this player and that player are, the 3-level scorers. They can make an impact immediately. And, this goes down to pick 19, 20. And I'm like, oh, that'd be a great pick for the Cavs, and maybe bring Okoro off the bench. But do you hurt Okoro, his growth doing something like that? Because he is still super young. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we always forget is that he's extremely young. It's not like, Kawhi Leonard or, a lot of these guys, came into the league and set it on fire year one. A lot of the superstars, they came in and it took them 2-3 years, some even 4 years to, become stars. So I'm very torn because on one hand, you don't want to give up on a kid that's so young, but on the other hand, we are in a win now mode. And if he can't start consistently putting up offensive numbers when he's needed, that is detrimental to the team because we need offense. That is what we have talked about for the longest time, is that we have needed more offense. And they like just like I said, when he would put up 14, 16, 18 points a game, the Cavs won that game. Almost every time the Cavs won that game. So is he more beneficial coming off the bench to guard the other team's best player as opposed to being in the starting lineup? In my opinion,
I do believe so. And when you take a look at this roster, and this really goes back to, in a way, the Colin Sexton decision, along with the draft pick and Okoro, right? Because the Cavs are not going to have room. Because I don't know if you believe this typically, but I still believe Lauri Markkanen should be the starting three next year. I still don't believe they figured out the big three lineup when they were all in there and healthy.
Potentially, the one thing that I think that they started realizing at the end of the season was that they were able to get by Markkanen. If you're able to get by Markkanen, then you could get some penetration. And if you got a guy with a decent jumper, there wasn't a quick enough rotation to get on, to get onto that person. So yeah, they're not going to get to the rim maybe as much, but they can hit that. If you can hit that mid-range jumper, that, we saw that a lot, especially against Chicago with DeRozan. And so,
but that was also with Allen out as well. Like we saw, we didn't see them all three together towards the end of the season, besides obviously the last game against Atlanta, but J.A. wasn't himself, obviously just basically playing, trying to get rid of the pain of that finger injury just to try to help the Cavs get to the postseason. Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely a conversation. That's why I'm wondering, like, if you had a starting two who basically was Okoro but could shoot, maybe you don't have to leave him in the corner. Maybe that will open up more opportunities for either that guy or somebody in the wing like a Markkanen to knock down shots. Like they have a lot of options they can go to. As we've talked about, there's certainly options at the wing. And again, it goes back to what type of player the Cavs are going to draft, and then what decisions could be made based off of that, because they have a lot of, I would say, similar type players. And there could be a lot of mixing and matching depending on who comes back next season.
Yeah, I agree. And I, like me and you have talked about pretty much this whole past year, was it just never seemed like they had a true starting rotation. It just, like you had your starters and you knew who they were. You knew Mobley and Allen and Garland were going to be on the court. And then after that, it was just, rotating. Who that game. It seemed like who that game did JB feel matched up best with the other team, and then you would rotate the pieces in until you found what worked, who was hot, and you stuck with that. So that's something that they'll have to deal with throughout the season. But I keep hearing Okoro's improving, and I'm like, it's been what 2 months, not even. So it's kind of hard for me to believe that Okoro's out there with all these all-stars and he's the best player on the court. But
maybe if they're not playing defense and they're driving right to the rim, I mean, that's what it's on.
I mean, Okoro did have the greatest. I think that was the greatest Cavs dunk of the entire season.
Either that or Mobley's loud dunk right over Giannis. That was the other one that came to mind for me.
I would put that number 3. And then my top 2, and I don't know which one I would do, is Markkanen baptizing Jokic in the second game of the season.
Yeah.
Or I think that would be number 2, but I think number 1 would have to be Okoro just absolutely being a man and slamming it down on 3.
Dunk was better than any dunk in the dunk contest.
Yeah, you know what? There's pictures of that dunk. You can't even see Okoro because he is just surrounded by 3 Rockets players that are trying to block him, and he just jammed it home. Well, so that might be I think that's number 1 for me.
Speaking of Houston, you mentioned to me right before we got on the air. So, whoever the Rockets GM is, not Daryl Morey, obviously. Know he's in Philadelphia. I don't have the new name of the Rockets GM off the top of my head, but I don't know if this guy took some loopy pills or whoever wrote this. It sounds like, and you mentioned this week, Houston trying to get Evan Mobley from the Cavs.
I think every team would want Evan Mobley from the Cavs, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't know. I can't remember the name of the account. It was on Twitter, and it even said at the end like this is just a discussion, which it was not a discussion whatsoever. It was don't you think it's beneficial for the Cleveland Cavaliers or for the Houston Rockets to give up the third pick in the draft and whatever else it would take to get Evan Mobley? And I'm going to answer that question. No. The Cavs fans are laughing about it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Evan Mobley is going to be and I have said this, and you put me on record, he will be a generational talent within the next few years. But I mean, who the hell thinks like that? Who even puts that out there? It's just a discussion. That's not a discussion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody is tradable at the right price.
No.
Everybody is tradable at the right price.
Okay, yeah.
Every single person, maybe not the one person, maybe Milwaukee wouldn't give up Giannis. Maybe Philly wouldn't give up Embiid because they're clearly the best players, at their position.
Well, but those are like two. Those are two players I would trade for Mobley.
Exactly. like if you offered Giannis for Mobley, yeah, that's a deal I would do.
You know what deal I wouldn't do? I would not trade Mobley for LeBron.
I think at this point, listen, if LeBron was 5 years younger,
okay, well, yes,
at this point in his career, no.
Yeah, if you're talking a 32-year-old,
37 or 38, I believe, this coming season.
He'll be 38 in, I believe his birthday's on New Year's Eve or New
December
Year's Day.
30th. December 30th.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. He'll be 38. And I know this because me and LeBron are only a couple months apart in age. And look where he's at, look where I'm at. I'm way more successful than LeBron. But yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's great. No, like I wouldn't trade for LeBron. I heard there was a rumor about what Russell Westbrook. I'm like, come
Westbrook to quit. Oh my no. The fit doesn't work. I don't want to talk about Westbrook on this Cavs podcast.
I'll say this. There is maybe like 6 players that I would trade Evan Mobley for. Right. And I don't even know if like Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. So there's like 3 players I would trade Evan Mobley for, not 6. I can't. I'm trying to think in my head. Who else would I?
Are we just talking Cavs fit, or are we just talking overall players?
I'm talking like Jason Tatum. I would trade Tatum.
Man, I don't know about that. That's closer to me. I think it would be like a Giannis and maybe Embiid and Luka would be like my.
Okay, range. Yeah. I would trade Luka. I wouldn't even. You know what? People might blast me. I wouldn't trade Booker for Mobley.
No, Devin I wouldn't Booker. Either. I would not either. As we talked about, that I have shared on many occasions my thoughts on Devin Booker as I blasted him for that Game 7 performance Phoenix put on against Dallas, which was absolutely the worst basketball game of the season.
Wait, okay. So I do have a trade I would make. It breaks my heart to say this. Evan Mobley for Steph Curry.
I was thinking about that. Here's why I think I would say no, though.
No. Because I don't care who comes up. You got Mobley. I'm sorry. You got Darius Garland next to Steph Curry.
I understand this league is all about shooting. I get it. But Steph's 34, going on 35. He's had injuries. I mean, we'll get to this in about 30 seconds. He's about to win his fourth championship, in my opinion.
I'm
But he's 34. He's been injured the last couple of years. Probably only got 2 or 3 years left. Do you sacrifice your? I mean, I can't believe we're talking about this in the offseason. This is what the All Things Cast podcast come to. Talking about, do you sacrifice Evan Mobley for Steph Curry? I mean, what are we doing here, people?
Yeah, I mean, at bottom line, Evan Mobley's not going anywhere. He is going to be one of the best players in the league in the next 2 to 3 years. People are throwing just craziness out there, but we have to have stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. This is we want you guys to enjoy listening to us, so we're gonna throw some crazy stuff at you from time to time. Evan Mobley not going anywhere. We're not trading him, but hypothetically, and if you want to answer this on the All Things Cast Twitter, is there a trade out there that you would say, okay, I will trade Evan Mobley for this one player? If there is, let us know, and we will 100% respond with a sounds like something we would do, or absolutely not.
Speaking of crazy, it's time to bring out the crazy background.
Oh man,
it is time to talk some NBA Finals. Game 6 is happening tomorrow night. Golden State now up 3-2 in the series. Last week, Joey gave me permission. He said, Brandon, listen, Golden State's down 2-1. Steph Curry seemed like he had an ankle injury. Wasn't sure if he was going to play game 4. And I sat here and I said, no. I said, Curry is going to play 100%. On Friday, I know we did not record Friday. We recorded Thursday. But I woke up Friday morning and I kid you not, I said, Curry's going to have 40 points tonight. And Curry had 43 points. And Golden State pulled away in a very, very close game. The score did not indicate, in my opinion, how close game 4 really was. Golden State obviously got the advantage, came back. Game 5, they did not play well in the third quarter. Boston came back and took the lead, so Boston could not finish, which I think is the real key to this series. Golden State is just more experience in these championship moments, and I still believe, and I'm sticking to my guns here, tomorrow night will be the final game of the NBA season. I think it will be the closest game in this finals. I think Golden State wins by a 4-6 margin. And I believe that the NBA championship will be presented tomorrow night in the TD Garden to the Golden State Warriors.
I think you even said Golden State in 6.
Yes, I did.
You did, yeah. I am going to, as I said in the very beginning, my head was telling me Golden State. My heart was telling me the Celtics, and I went with my heart with the Celtics. I'm going to say it's going to go to a game 7, and then we'll talk about it after game 7. I think that Boston needs to dig down deep and find whatever it is they need to, because this is a young team. It's still a young team. I know Tatum is 25 or 26.
He's 24 years old.
Tatum's only 24?
I believe so, yes.
I mean, I know Jaylen Brown's young, and it's just a super young team.
Tatum is 24.
24.
Just turned 24 in March.
Wow. I think they find a way to take game 6. I could be 100% wrong in this. I'm not confident in my predictions at all. Brandon's sitting there looking pretty confident. He got that smug look on his face. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, Believe in Media, and so you can see the smug look on Brandon's face right now.
Also, check out the Steph Curry chicken costume background if you have not over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the thing with Golden State is I cannot believe, and he hasn't really played phenomenal this series, but he's played, like Wiggins has played. God, last game, Wiggins was an absolute beast.
My MVP so far in this finals is Andrew Wiggins. I'm going to throw that out there. I think Wiggins is the finals MVP if Golden State wins.
But just like Jordan Poole, how the heck do they lose KD and then draft a dude who probably is going to be, an all-star
They
in
are
the next few
turning
years.
into the Spurs, the Patriots, whatever. Like they are now that team that just finds people that aren't supposed to be these great players, and they develop them. They turn into great players. They take guys like Andrew Wiggins and Otto Porter, who are not great in other places, and they fit great for them. Kevon Looney, Draymond Green. I mean, you name it. Draymond has more fouls than points in the series.
I want to know what happened to Draymond, because when the Cavs played Draymond, he was averaging like almost a triple double.
People forget Game 7. He had like 32. I want to say 15 and 12. It was some crazy stat.
I don't think he had a triple double. I might be wrong. I thought it was like 30 something, 9 and 15 or something.
You could.
Like, it was like right there. But I mean, but he was doing that almost on a consistent game basis, like with the triple double. And now he kind of goes in, just for
32, 15, and 9. You were exactly right.
Okay, yeah. Now you can see the smug look on my face. But yeah, like you said, Looney and Jordan Poole, Porter, Wiggins, then you got Steph and Clay back healthy. Draymond, while he might not be as good as he once was, he still, he gets in players' heads. This team,
exactly what he's there for. And here's the thing. Like we didn't talk about Wiggins going into the series. We talked about obviously Stay, Jordan Poole. Like we thought Golden State at 3 with jet scores. Wiggins, the last 2 games, has been absolutely phenomenal. And I know Steph had 43 in Game 4, and they needed all of those 43 to win the game. But Wiggins also had like 15 rebounds or something insane like that. Came out in Game 5, could not miss a shot when both teams were really struggling. And really, this series has come down to the new NBA. Who has shot the best in every game has won the game. If you shoot better in today's NBA, the majority of the time during a game, you're going to win the game. And I think it comes down to just the fact that Boston is tight in late second half situations because they haven't been on the final stage. And there's a huge difference between the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And you know what? I'm going to say this out to all you Cavs fans. Please stop saying that the 2016, 2017 Cavs would beat this Warriors team. Listen, I get it. You want to be nostalgic. You want to be part of this finals. Guess what? The Cavs are not part of the finals. LeBron's gone. Kyrie's gone. Kevin Love's on the bench now. Great, nominated for 6th Man of the Year. This isn't that time. We got Garland. We got Mobley. We got Jared Allen. Hopefully we'll get Sexton back. We'll have a brand new shiny 14 pick in the NBA draft. Got a great bench, Markkanen and Okoro, and it's a whole new ball game, whole new team. Stop trying to be part of it.
And in 2 or 3 years, when the Cavs do get that one more piece and they are in actual championship contention, they do make the finals. Steph Curry, when we were on 37 years old, still probably making the finals for Golden State. And at that point, they'll be older. The Cavs can sweep them and get revenge for all those.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Is when the Cavs start making the finals again, then we can have the conversation. Well, who would win? LeBron and Kyrie, or this new Cavs team? Whoever it's going to be.
We may not have that what if conversation because it feels like Golden State is going to stick around for the next 10 years. They got all these kids coming off the bench who are going to be great in a couple of years. Jordan Poole looks like a young Steph Curry.
He's not nearly as good.
But the way the ball comes out of his hand.
Me personally, I think the Cavs right now are constructed in such a way that when everybody is healthy, and these kids are, and I say kids because that's what they're young.
They're young and
they're 21. Deep. they're 20, 21, 22. Evan Mobley, I think he just turned 20 maybe, or he's 19 still. I mean, I think our oldest starter marketing just turned 25. So, I think that this team is just going to be super deep, super loaded. And next year, another year of growth on the court together. And I think that it's going to be, I don't know if there's a team that's, I think that they're going to take that. I think, we talked, Garland took the next step and Allen kind of took the next step this year. I think the team as a whole is going to take that next step next year.
I agree.
It's we're going to see I think we're going to see at least a 50-win season, and we're going to be we're going to be in the playoffs, no play-in, nothing like that.
That next step starts next week with the NBA draft special. Obviously, as Joey mentioned, the top of the show will be me, Joey U, our owner and operator Kevin Slides, and Clarence Wilson. We will be breaking down all of the top potential prospects the Cavs could take at that number 14 overall spot. Until then, Joey, man, I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be back. Our All Things Cast podcast next week. Like Brandon said, it's going to be all draft. After we will talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, because we'll see who pulled it out, and if Brandon was right. I'm sure I'll never hear about it for the rest of my life. Although I will.
The one time I will be right on this whole podcast.
I will. It'll just negate the his prediction for the Cavs record at the beginning of the season. So we'll call that a wash. I'll never mention it again. And it's gonna be a good time. Always happy to have other members from Believe in Media on the podcast. It's gonna be a blast. Joe Yule, my other partner in crime, just an absolute dynamite mind for the NBA for the draft, just like myself. Same with the NFL draft. So gonna have a lot of experience up here, and gonna be a good time. But Brandon, you know what time it is. It's that time.
It's
Go
time
for
to
it.
let them know. We'll see you guys in the draft special next week on All Things Cavaliers.